everybody, my name's Joey. Today I am working with two of the classic quintessential Jesse James bead little mixes from the Market Fresh mini mix. I'm excited and I can't talk. Rainbow Water Ice is one of them and mascarpone is the other one. And I'm going to be working with this beautiful enamel chain. I'm so in love with this chain, and I'm going to do a really colorful, like all the rainbow colors, necklace and earring set. And we're going to have a lot of fun making our own pendant. And so if you are a little bit uneasy about, working with wire, you can definitely do this because it's artisan. It's organic, very free form. If you were to sit and do 10 of them, they would all look differently, and that's what we want. So I have some 20 gauge wire out here that is got an anti-tarnish coating. And what else do I have out here? I have pulled from the Market Fresh mini mix all the little butterfly spacers to use as an embellishment. And then I've pulled the crystal rondelle spacers out of this mix and a few other crystals and things along the way. So let me pull in my dishes that I'm going to be working from and give you a quick overhaul or overview of what's going to go into the project. So I've taken a handful of eye pins and gone through the water ice mix, and I've just pulled out the crystals, and I'm doing a little bit of a production because I need to make a lot of components where I just have to complete them by putting the simple loop on the other end. And I wanted to show you something too, because I've also pulled out some 80 gold seed beads. This project, as you can see, is going to be all in gold. And I just wanted to show you how a simple seed bead can really make a component pop. I put a seed bead above and below each of these crystals, and I have some here just to show you the difference, how powerful a little seed bead can be in your design. That's my component with the seed bead, and this is what it would look like without. It's just so much better. There's like a framing, or it makes the bicone crystal really pop. And same thing on this one, even though the gold is on a golden crystal, it really adds quite a difference. So I am using some seed beads, and I'm going to use them as the embellishment in my pendant. And so this production is ready to go. And I've also made a little seed bead component here. When we connect the pendant to the body of the necklace, that is ready to go. And I'm using my one-step looper, and I'm going to preface this by saying you can totally make your simple loops with your pliers if you like to do them that way. For me, when I make a beaded chain, I really love my one-step looper. There are 3 sizes in it, and I'm going to be using the smallest size just because I'm looking at the size of my chain that I will be adding these components into. And I'll show you exactly what I'm going to be doing to make the components. I've, as I said, done my production. I've set up all of my patterns on eye pins, and they are ready to go. And so I'm gonna kind of make a production and get through my components very quickly so they are ready for building the necklace. So I'm gonna feed my eye pin through the guide hole of the tool and push my beads right up to the edge of the one-step looper, and I want to try to get my eye pin and my wire like against the back plate of the tool as much as possible, and the tool makes the cut for me. Get a good grip here, and I can watch it make the loop. And now to center the loop, I'm just going to pull my entire component down and close the tool. And if I need to align my loops, I did become slightly misaligned. Now's the time to do that. And my component is done. And I am going to go through all my components just like that and get them all made so that they are ready for building. And you can get through a beaded chain very, very quickly with this tool. And for me also, again, if you want to do this project, for me, I don't put the tool down. I just swing it out of my way, pick up my next my next component that's already planned out, and I get through my beaded chains very, very quickly and easily this way. So let me just go through these and get them all done, and I'll be back. So all my components are made and they are ready to add into my chain. So the plan here is to start off with this little seed bead component. I'm going to add it right in directly to the bottom link, and this is just going to lead down into my pendant, and also I'll just lay it here so you can see. And this connecting ring, this fancy jump ring here, that's going to go up into my toggle clasp. I really love having a beautiful toggle for a front closure and not hiding it behind the neck. So that's what I'm going to do there. And I'm going to modify this beautiful enamel chain by counting 3 rings. These are so beautiful. Every of the enamel circles is connected by an oval jump ring, so it's just a perfect chain to personalize it and embellish it. So I'm going to count 3, and right there I'm going to cut the oval jump ring. Just remove it, and then at random I'm going to pick my components that I've made and add them in with some jump rings. I have made some 5mm jump rings. In fact, I'm just going to put them out here. And adding your components in with a jump ring gives you a little bit more length, but also a little bit more fluidity. Jump rings make movement. So you could open your simple loop on each component and add it directly in, and it's another look, but I'm going to do this with jump rings. And so I said that this was going to be added in, my components would be added in at random all the way around the necklace, and they are. The only caveat to that being that I have a couple of components that are with a little bit larger beads from the water ice mix, and as I'm adding this in, I want them to stay down here where the smaller beads will go around the back of the neck and my larger components will kind of spill down into the pendant. So the heaviest bit of the necklace is right here in the focal in the center. So I have a couple that, like, I have 2 of these, so I'm going to save this one until I come back around to this side and add it in closer to the pendant. And then these are a little bit larger, as well as these golden crystal, like oversized bicones. So that's the plan, and I'm going to continue that way. So I'm just going to pick up another jump ring and connect back onto my length, my long length of chain, and count 3 rings up and snip again and choose another component. And I'm going to work my way all the way around. Just going to take my time. It's so fun to make a beaded chain, but it's really fun to make a beaded chain when you're like modifying another chain, you know, it just because it goes so fast, you get your length really quickly. Oh, you guys, I'm talking and I closed the ring without adding in my chain. Okay, let me slow down here, open this, and so I'm going to come to my long length, add that in and close it really well. And you know, I'm going to do every 3, but you could even do this random. Like you could let your next one be 5. That would be pretty to do it, you know, to do it a little bit random too. But I think I'm going to stick to the 3. So I'm going to leave my next 3 rings on here. And 1, 2, 3, come right here and snip. And then I'm going to pick up another jump ring and choose another component. And I'm going to work my way around the entire necklace just like that. And as I said, I will save out a couple of these larger ones for when I come back around to the front of the design. So just add my jump ring. And this time I think I'll do a blue component. Close the jump ring and just keep going. This is so fun. It's so easy. You know, anybody can do this. You just open and close your jump rings. Okay, my beaded chain is created. Oh my goodness, it is random. It is random acts of colorfulness. I just love it. I mean, it's already a beautiful, colorful chain, but mixing in the crystals and the handmade components and all the random shapes and colors, it is just amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my toggle and my front closure, and we'll be ready to work on the pendant. So I'm going to put my heart on this side where the blue crystal is, and I have 2 jump rings left here. So I'm going to take one and open it, and there's a small, on this heart toggle, there's already a small little jump ring there, and I'm just going to leave that and add this in, and then add it directly to the link on my component. Now, I made my necklace about 24 inches long, and then with my pendant, it's going to be one of my famous long necklaces because that's the way that I like it. But when you're creating your chain, your colorful beaded chain, you can literally make it any length that you want, and you can make modifications. You could do the circle parts random, you know, do 2 on one, 5 on another, 7 on another in between your handmade components. I like the 3, I like the odd number, and I liked being able to get in more crystals and components, but also for my earring design, for the length that I needed so that these wouldn't be too long, 3 rounds of the 3 lengths of the chain is what I ended up choosing. So there was a little bit of underlying design going on with that decision there. So on this end, I'm going to use this fancy jump ring, but you could use really any ring. And I'm going to put that right there and then add my T-bar to that ring. And so it's going to close on one side, and then my pendant can hang from this ring once I get it ready. So go ahead and add this T-bar onto my ring. Get that closed. A little bit of a connecting puzzle here. And then I'm going to open my gold seed bead component that I made, and you'll see why I dotted my components and even made this little component. Even when I'm doing something that's random and colorful like this, I still like it to be cohesive, and I still like there to be some controlled chaos, I guess, if you will, you know, that it doesn't look unplanned, I think. Okay, so it's ready for my pendant, and let me just put the toggle through and kind of show you what the front of the necklace is going to be. And you guys, I will put some really good pictures up at the end when the piece is all done, because on my long necklaces, they just don't fit under the camera lens. So I'm going to let this kind of go off to the edge here, and we're going to work on the pendant. So the toggle is on, and that's going to be the front of the necklace. And so on this fancy jump ring is where I'm going to attach the pendant that we're going to build. And as you can see, I have kind of planned it out. These crystals are absolutely stunning. There are a few colors on the Jessie James Bead website, and they come in pairs, so you could really do like some really chunky, funky earrings with these. But I decided it would just be gorgeous as a pendant. And I have taken about 10 inches of 20 gauge craft wire here, and I'm just going to smooth and warm it. And I'm going to make kind of a head pin, but I want to do a spiral on one end, but it's also going to be a connection point, so I don't want the center of my spiral to be too tight. I need to give myself a fresh cut here. Nice blunt cut, and I'm going to come down on the middle barrel of my plier to get my first round in there, because I need to be able to get a jump ring through. And so on that idea, I also don't want to make this spiral too big, because then I would have to go up to a really giant jump ring to get through it, and I don't want to have to do that either. So I'm just going to make a little decorative, kind of a decorative head pin with an open center here by pushing this against my finger and just getting a few rounds in here. Okay, that is perfect. And now I'm going to get my plier right here where I want it to become a head pin. Just get under there and bend it straight up. Just get a hold of it and bend it straight up. So there's the start of my head pin. And now this can be really nice and warm and straight. And now I'm going to feed on my beautiful crystal bead. So I'm going to be putting a jump ring in here for my final heart and my final little drop. But I want to create something fancy, and this is where I was saying that if you are insecure about your wire working, I hope you'll try this, because I'm going to embellish this crystal with this wire, but it's very free form. I'll look for the natural path of the wire and, you know, add in some things. I'm going to add in these little butterflies and some gold seed beads to kind of pick up on them being dotted in the body of the necklace. So I'm going to come just like this and give this a 90-degree bend, and here I'm just going to do a normal wire wrapped loop. So now you see, you'll see why I have all this extra wire for such a simple loop. I'm going to bring this over my top barrel, rotate that around, bring this wire around, and get my loop nice and centered. Make sure everything is centered. And now I'm going to wrap down to the bead, and then with all this extra wire, I'm going to embellish the bead. And you really can't get this wrong. I read all the messages and all the comments, and I know that a lot of people don't consider themselves wire artists. I don't consider myself a wire artist either, honestly, I don't. But you really can't get this wrong, because whatever you do, you know, is how it turns out. So I'm going to come right down to the top of my bead, and again, I'm looking for the natural path of the wire here, and that to me just looks like a really great place to start embellishing. So I'm going to take this and just start to lay it across my bead. Just going to go around to the back and come around to the front. And like I said, I'm not a wire artist, but I do love to play with wire, and I absolutely love the way wire looks laying across beads. So my advice is to keep the wire warm and smooth, and also go slowly. I find that my wire performs better and responds better to my bends and things when I go slowly. And so here, I'm going to dump a few seed beads out on my mat and add some gold seed beads onto my wire. And again, I'm going to sort of work in odd numbers. And these little sweet little butterflies that were in the water ice mix, they are just so beautiful. And doesn't that look gorgeous on the bead? It's going to look like the butterflies are flying around the bead. So I'm going to continue. Now this is really not secured down yet, so I'm going to continue. I'm going to get a hold of it with my plier and just continue to make my way around. Come back around to the front. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? And I'm going to do some more. I'm going to do this butterfly going in the opposite direction. And I do want to leave some space. These are going to float on here, but I mean, you could fill the wire up entirely, but I do want to leave some space on my wire. I want to see like a little bit of wire, a little bit of bead. And at a certain point, you can use your thumb and finger to hold this down. And if you want to work with a longer piece of wire, of course, goes to without saying, you'd be able to go around your bead more times. But I just wanted 2 rounds. I don't want to completely cover up the crystal. And I'm going to work my way back down to the bottom here and just get in there and wrap this around. And here's where it is so fun and good to give yourself extra wire, because I have the perfect amount to do another spiral that I can lay right here, and I'm going to use that for that. So this time I'll stay down on the very tip of my plier and make a really small closed loop here. I need a fresh cut. And I'm just going to do a little, really small, little decorative spiral here. And you could cut the wire away and tuck the ends, but I just see like how pretty it would be to have a daintier spiral just above my larger one. Just carefully bend it right down and use my thumb to push it into the bead. So that's what I have. And these move a little bit, so I love a little bit of movement in jewelry, but my butterflies are flying around my crystal. Love it. And I'm just going to straighten out my loop, and I will have to open this jump ring again, or I could add in a couple more jump rings, but I'm going to build the rest of the pendant first, and then decide how I want to attach it, how it would hang best on my front of my necklace. Okay, I was going to make this a really long dramatic pendant with 3 hearts, but I am looking at this and I love this mobile, I just love this, the way that this turned out. So I'm going to do a less dramatic pendant. So, and I do have a few butterflies left over. There was a lot of these little butterfly spacers in the water ice mix. They're so sweet. So I'm going to take another piece of my 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to do a simple wire wrapped loop here with a little stack. Enough space to get a wrapped loop in the top, and I'm doing a wrapped loop for this component because I want to secure my heart so that it's facing forward. It's going to be a very dangly pendant, but that just makes me feel good to have the heart not spinning on the wire. So I'm going to do another wire wrapped loop right here, same way that I did the one above the pendant. And so for my orientation, I am going to do the loop that I'm wrapping parallel to my mat as my spiral head pin is parallel to my mat, so that I can connect that also with a jump ring. So I'm going to feed on one of these beautiful blue crystals, a crystal rondelle spacer, and again, the elements happening down here are in the body of my necklace. I popped some crystal rondelle spacers in a couple of my components. Just going to make a little bead stack here, and now I'm going to do my wrapped loop on this end also in the same direction as this one. So I'm going to hold on to that loop. My beads will spin around. I'm just going to hold on to that loop, and I'm going to get a hold of my heart right there and do my bend in the same direction that I did my first loop. You can change the direction of your loops after they're wrapped with 2 pairs of pliers, but if you know what you're doing from the beginning, you can save yourself a step. Line everything up and gently tuck this wire in line with the others without putting any stress on my beads. And so what that did is now this is not wobbly. It's nice and firm facing forward. And I'm going to bring this wire around the front. And once again, I'm going to take advantage of having some extra wire here, and I'm going to place a butterfly right in the middle of my heart. So one little butterfly got out of line. So I'm just going to feed it on the wire like that, lay it across my heart right in the middle, just hold on to it with my thumb and forefinger, and now I'm just going to wrap this right back up to the top. And just wrap around my top wraps. Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm going to trim right there and just get it tucked in so that there's nothing sharp and so that you don't see it. Just like that. And if you need to tidy up your loops or anything, you can. Look at that for a final drop. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, I need a couple more jump rings. Up to an 8mm jump ring, and I'm going to use double jump rings here, 2 for each spot. And it doesn't really do anything, but I just think it looks great. So I'm going to feed my dangle onto my main drop and close that really well, and then put my second jump ring right next to it. Just go through my open spiral and through my heart component. See how pretty that looks? I really love the double jump rings, and sometimes I even do triple there. And I'm going to do the same thing to this little caged crystal and hang it from the heart. So just choose a spot right there and do the same thing. This is so beautiful. I love it so much. So now I'm going to come right here to this a little bit heavier jump ring and open it just a little bit and add my pendant on. This is beyond gorgeous. Absolutely beyond gorgeous. I love this so much. I think it's just absolutely delightful and a little bit unexpected and just colorful and fun and really perfect for, you know, spring and summer, but I would wear this all year long. So we're going to do a matching or coordinating earring to go with it. And I will say for my own wire working that I do better when I have to do wire working for earrings if I do them both at the same time, but I wanted to have a sample done for you guys so that you could see where we're going. So I did this earring yesterday, so I'm going to do my best to get my wire kind of the same as this one, but that's my little tip if you're a little insecure about your wire working, is try to do your earrings at the same time. Okay, let me set this beauty aside, and here are the elements needed for the earring. So on the necklace, my rings were random colors, but for my earrings, I cut 3 links the same color. I've got 3 the same color. So that's going to go like that. And this is from the Water Ice Mix, this beautiful little cubical cylindrical bead. And I'm simply going to put a ball head pin in there. And I'm just going to do a simple loop here on this ball head pin. Just up and over. It kind of looks like I'm going to wrap this because I start my simple loops the exact same way. But then I take my snips and cut right where the 2 wires meet. So it's a really easy, good way to get a simple loop. And I can open this now and attach it right to the bottom link on the chain for the earring. So I'm going to work my way up the earring. Okay, so next I'm going to take another little piece of my 20 gauge wire, and I really love doing my pieces like all with the same wire because it all matches. I made my jump rings out of this, my embellishment here is out of this, my connectors here, and my ear wire. So it really makes a really pretty polished finished set of jewelry when you use your own wire to do things. So I'm just warming this and getting it kind of straight, and I'm going to start by feeding one of my heart beads on the wire, and I need to leave enough space on the top that I'll have plenty of space to create my ear wire. So probably about like that is going to be good. And then I'm going to take a jump ring and have it ready, and I'm going to just hold this with my thumb and forefinger and bend this wire straight up and lay it across the top of my heart. It's a little wobbly at first, but just use your thumb and finger to pinch it. So there you have that fold. And now I'm going to take this jump ring and feed it on the front wire, and so this way it is laying on the front of the heart. Okay, so I'm just holding on to this with my thumb and forefinger to keep my jump ring where I want it, and I'm going to take this front wire and wrap it around. Everything's still a little bit wobbly. Just get it around. Use your pliers to help you if you need that. So now we're starting to be a little bit more secure, and just get a couple of wraps in there. And before you move on, if you don't like something, at least for me, I stop, and you know, if I need to tighten up coils, I also love my nylon jaw pliers. Don't put any stress on my bead, but I can wiggle things into place and really have control. And if you have, like I got a little unwanted bend there in my wire, I can remedy that very easily without, you know. So that looks amazing. And I like to mirror my earrings, so I kind of pulled this wire off to the right, where on this one it was off to the left. And before I go any further, I'm going to put my little lightning bolt bend in here. So I'm going to get a hold of my piece and really get a good grip on it and bend, and just give it a twist. So that really tightens everything up, and now I'm going in the opposite direction. You don't have to mirror your earrings. I heard somebody the other day say that they just don't like it. They don't like the way mirrored earrings look, but I do. I think it's really pretty. And now from here, I am ready to create my spiral. And I am going to measure. I'm going to just clean this up a little bit, and let's see, that's about a good idea. I'm going to eyeball this, but a good idea to make sure that your two spirals are about the same is that when you do your first earring, to measure from here to here, and then on your second earring, measure again and have the same length of wire for creating your spiral. I'm going to eyeball it. As I said, I did these yesterday, so for me, it's really better. I wouldn't even have to measure if I did them at the same time, but I do forget so quickly what I did. Let me move this out of the way, and I'm going to come right here and do the same thing we've been doing, just create a spiral. Okay, and I just lay it flat on the earring. And now I'm going to repeat my stack of beads, a crystal rondelle spacer, and this beautiful green crystal rondelle. And now it's really important when you make an earring that's an all-in-one design that you keep everything lined up and facing the direction you want. So this is obviously the front of my earring, so I'm going to look at this and get a hold of that wire just a little bit above my top bead, and I'm going to make a 45-degree bend towards me, like that, about 45 degrees. And before you move on, to know if you got your bend right, see, I don't have enough of a bend in there because my bead is still sliding off, and that bend is to keep your bead in place. So I've got to come here and do even a little bit more of a bend, and that is keeping my bead secure. So it looks like that, and now I'm going to take my bail making pliers, and you can really use any step that you want, but on these I used this largest size to make just really contemporary swooping ear wires. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to put this in so that I will be wrapping over the largest barrel, but before I do, see I'm a little bit sideways. You want to make sure that everything is straight before you make that bend, and then I'm just going to wrap it over and bring it around toward the back of the earring. and it's done. And my bead is secure. It's on there now. And so from here, you can really, finish these off however you want. I wanted to make mine a little bit shorter, so I'm gonna match them up. Just gonna match up my 2 ear wires the best that I can. The beads are a little bit in the way, and just make them the equal length. And now I'm gonna take my flat nose pliers, and on each one, line up the end of the wire and kick that out, and do the same thing on this one. And then I'll bring my wire rounder in. This is a battery operated reamer with the cup attachment or wire rounder attachment. That is a tongue twister. Just fit the wire in there, press the button, and get a really professional, smooth finish on your ear wires. And the last thing to do is open our final jump ring. And on this, I did something kind of cool. I snipped one of the existing or soldered loops so that I can put my jump ring right through the O part, and then right through my decorative or diamond cut jump ring. And I'm just going to close it really well, and that gorgeous pair of earrings is done. Look at that. They are so pretty. I love this whole set. It makes me so happy. It's so colorful and bright and cheerful and just fun, 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 but it is elegant and beautiful at the same time. So open the description box for links, and I hope you'll give this project a try. I thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, everybody.